Started this project as part of One Laptop Per Child, the little green laptops from about three or 4 years ago. And Nicholas and I go back. I was Nicholas's first graduate student at MIT back in the mid-1970s, and we worked together for many years. And then, but we finally stopped working together last year because I left One Laptop Per Child to start SugarLabs. And the reason was because, in some sense, it was because Nicholas was too successful. Because we were so successful in making a laptop for children that lots of people make small laptops now. It became an industry. And so I thought that with the software we wrote, there was no reason to have only run on the green hardware. It should run on any computer. And so I decided that the only way that was going to happen is if I left One Laptop Per Child and started SugarLabs, because otherwise it would be too close a relationship. And so we left. But when we made SugarLabs, we called it SugarLabs plural, very deliberately, because we didn't want to have sort of a centralized organization, but we wanted to have sugar development happening all around the world, and have it be appropriated, owned all around the world, not in any one place. Because the problems and the talent is everywhere. The problems are everywhere, and the talent to solve the problems is everywhere. And so by trying to consolidate it in one place was a mistake, would be a mistake. So we made it be SugarLabs Central, which only exists in cyberspace. It doesn't exist. There's no physical SugarLabs Central anywhere. It's irc.freenode.net. Pound sugar channel. That's SugarLabs. But what SugarLabs Central is it's really there to build consensus around the goals and provide some infrastructure for achieving those goals. But the work that happens in the leaves, where the intelligence is, where the talent is, where the passion is. And so the idea from the very beginning, and Sebastian and I talked about this right at the very beginning, I think he was one of the first people to say, hey, we should have a SugarLabs here. The idea is that a community, and a community could be a neighborhood around a school, or a community could be a city, or a community could be a state, or it could be a language, or it could be whatever it is, that community defines itself, but it then aligns itself with certain principles of the sugar community as a whole. And one of those principles is around free. The English doesn't have the right word, but Libre, software Libre, because as we were discussing earlier, learning is doing. You don't learn without doing, without being active. Learning is not something that happens to you, it's something you do for yourself. And so software is a wonderful thing to think with. It's a powerful tool for learning, but it's only powerful when you're doing. And so it seems to me it's a tautology that educational software has to be free software. I don't see how it could be any other way. So that's one principle of SugarLabs. Then, I think that it's really got to be something that is sort of an open community at the same time. I think that sugar doesn't belong to just one group or one place. It belongs to, anyone should be free to either submit patches or fork the project. If they want to fork the project, that's okay too. We made, when we first developed sugar, and this is a little technical detail, but I think it's an important technical detail, we're using as our source code management a system called Git. And Git is just one of many different choices. I don't have any strong feelings one way or another about Git versus SVC or any other source code management system, but the way we had it set up originally is that if you wanted to put a project in Sugar, you had to submit a proposal, and somebody, I'm not sure who, would approve the proposal and set up an account on a Git server for you, and you could make your project. And when we set up SugarLabs, we said, you know what, that's crazy. First of all, it represents a management overhead that who needs that headache, first of all. But second of all, it sort of says that, you know, there's some, who's the right person to arbitrate? Who's the one who actually knows whether the project Sebastian proposes is the right project? They have to be omnipotent, and nobody is. So we said instead what we did was we're still using Git, but we're using a front end to Git called Gitorious. And I don't know if any of you have ever used Gitorious. But what Gitorious is it's first of all, it's very simple. It's a very friendly web interface to Git, web interface to source code management. That in and of itself is very nice. But it's also set up so that you don't need to, anybody can come along, set up an account, and start a project unilaterally. There's no control over that, and there doesn't need to be any control over that. And we've been doing it that way for close to 18 months now, and we've just had, we have spammers on our bug tracking system. We don't have any spammers in Git yet. Hopefully that won't happen anytime soon. But the idea that there's this wonderful tool out there that's open and available and that people can build from. And the nice thing about Git and Gitorious is it's really easy to fork a project. All you do is you click fork, and you have a fork, and then you can do whatever you want with that fork, including request a merge back in. So it's just it's so simple and clean and easy, and it really, I think, is inviting to have people participate, take it the direction they want to take it. But at the same time, the other thing we were talking about earlier this evening was IRC. And I'm a big fan of IRC. IRC is chat. And we have a Sugar channel for chat. And the great thing about the Sugar channel is there's always somebody there who can answer a question. I don't think Alexi ever sleeps. But
maybe he's hearing us.
yeah, Alexi's probably hearing us. Alexi lives in Siberia, and he's always in pound sugar. Maybe because it's cold, he wants to be warm by his computer. But he's always there answering questions and helping people. But the other thing about IRC that's wonderful is that you have all these bright, passionate people talking about things, talking about problems, talking about how they're going to solve the problems. So it's sort of this open classroom. The IRC channel for Sugar is a university. It's a better, if you want to learn how to program, well, the best way to learn how to program is to copy a program and change it and break it. But then get on IRC and listen to how these people are discussing problems. It's better than any computer science class you're going to find at a university. It's just getting into IRC and listening, asking questions, trying things. And so there's a sense of Sugar. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make this tool, but we're not trying to make a tool that's static, and we're not trying to make a tool that is just that you use. We're trying to make a tool that you feel very comfortable to change and to experiment with it. Let me make another analogy.